Ready for a countdown?
We are ready for a countdown.
Right.
What number are you going to start on?
We'll be live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
This is Things I Found Online with Joe Cipriano. Ooh, I like him. Larry Morgan, he ain't here. And the beautiful and talented Louise Palanker. Beware, these radio legends are exploring the internet. Louise?
Joe, our guests in the studio today are Taylor Williamson, who's very handsome and funny.
Yes.
And Kirk Rudell.
Kirk.
Who's handsome, funny, comma, and my cousin.
And everyone's fake cousin.
He's my pretend. When people ask how we're really related, we go, we're not actually related. But he's related to my uncle, who married my aunt.
He definitely likes you because he would go to Buffalo to see you. So that's right.
Well, he was dragged there at the age of 7 and didn't have a lot of say in it. But
put in the back of the station wagon, and wherever it was going, was
it the station wagon where you look out the back window? You're turned around.
No. That was. I wished. Very much I had one of those station wagons with the back.
Were fun.
Yeah, those were cool.
Yeah.
I remember when the station wagon pulled up, and it was Baby Kirk.
Really?
Yeah.
Just me driving my little station wagon.
He was a really, really precocious little driver.
It was a Tonka station wagon.
So we have all kinds of exciting stuff to explore on the internet once we have our wonderful guests like Taylor, who's an award-winning comedian.
That's not true, but I have a question.
Yes.
Remember those seats in the trunk of the car? Like there was
Taylor. Really? Seats in the trunk?
When I kidnap people, I put them in a chair and I buckle them in.
Like buckle in your dead hooker?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Alive hookers.
That's
I never
handy.
killed
them. It's even better.
But it's
So does that mean you had junk in the trunk? Is that what that comes from?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, the spare tire and the bungee cord that your parents said was the seat in the trunk.
Yeah, but there's there was a thing. There's a time period where car seats were in the trunk.
No, I do know what you're talking about.
You're talking about when they were backwards.
Was it called
those
like
backwards?
My
parents had one of those.
What do they call that?
Like the rumble seat.
Rumble seat.
Yes.
But they don't. Those don't happen anymore.
No, because all the babies that were seated in them flew out and were never seen again.
Wow, that's just
we lost some of our greatest minds.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the 1950s.
But Taylor, are you okay? I don't know if you've checked your SEO recently, but we're gonna Google you.
What's SEO?
I don't know.
Search engine optimization.
Okay, let's Google Taylor.
Alrighty.
Because I think he's going to be on the internet.
Oh, look, there he is.
There he is. And according to Google, Taylor Williamson is an American stand-up comic and actor. He is known for finishing as the runner-up in the 8th season of America's Got Talent and as a semifinalist on Last Comic Standing. Taylor.
That's correct, but my birthday's wrong.
Oh,
really?
They got your birthday wrong?
Yeah.
You have good eyesight.
November 6th.
Well, I've known about this, and then I confirmed it just now. Because people write me and they say happy birthday, and then
my gosh!
But then it makes me older than I am, which we all know in Hollywood it's bad.
That's not good.
You don't want that. Not good.
Now, are we talking a year off or just a month or?
It's
off?
like 9 months off, which is very frustrating.
That's way off.
Do you want to say
randomly way off?
What is your real birthday then?
June 15th.
Wow! How did they get November 6th?
It's very incorrect.
So it would take, but you can't fix your own Wikipedia page, right?
Yeah, you can.
No, someone else.
But I don't even think that's Wikipedia. That's Google. Or is it
that's
Wikipedia?
Google?
Oh,
I don't
that
know.
might be Google.
But
Google.
Anyone here know the rules of Wikipedia? Because you can't. They will know if you try to edit your own Wikipedia page.
You can change it.
You can.
Because mine, for 3 hours, it said Wheezy is awesome, and then poof,
For real? They switch it back?
they do. They switch it back.
Does that mean you're not
tested
on?
Who the heck is in charge of that?
Multiple people have to put the same thing in, and then it gets approved.
Really?
So
next time, call some friends.
We tested that in the writer's room once.
You did?
We did. We had the writer's assistant edit someone's, because we realized that some of the writers had Wikipedia pages and others like me did not.
Okay.
And we're very jealous. So we took someone who did have a page and we edited it to say that he was a very tender lover. And we just wanted to check the Wikipedia bots because we knew that they scanned for that stuff. And it was really interesting. Within about 25 minutes, it had been deleted, and the writer's assistant was unable to edit from that desktop thing anymore. Like they'd gotten the IP address.
Got the IP address.
And they're like, you are now blocked
it's like
from
Wikipedia
doing stuff.
said you're dead to me.
Yeah, it was creepy.
So, all right. So, if you're out there and you're an expert on how Wikipedia or the Wiki universe or community works,
yes,
please give us a call at 888-531-7171.
Let's put that up on the screen right now. Sorry.
I don't know if we can.
We can't do that.
One day.
Yeah.
In the future.
What was the number again?
888-531-7171. Because I'm very fascinated about how the collaborative kind of energy that creates Wikipedia, because it is very accurate and up to date, and somebody must have gotten an alert that there was an edit to that page.
I would imagine.
Right?
Or
they just sit there refreshing that guy's
I think there's weird. It's like there's Matrix-like bots that are just constantly scanning for keywords or things that seem off, and then they just come in and grab it.
Great lover should never be on a Wikipedia page.
Under television writer.
And especially under Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, my.
So,
we have a question.
Yes.
You don't have to raise your hand there.
Well, I like it, though, when he does.
You know?
Taylor?
Did you... Thank you.
Why do you always choose Taylor?
Did you hear about the Donald Trump's Twitter account was taken offline?
I did.
And people, I assumed it was like some 20-year-old kid who's got a job at Twitter, was just like, I don't care for this person.
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this guy.
I was going to curse, but I don't know if you can curse on this thing.
Fuck yeah.
He's probably like, fuck this President Trump, you know?
Right.
And I just assume the guy said, but he said comma, because he doesn't say President Trump. He said like President Trump.
Trump, yeah.
But
fuck this, President Trump. That's a very different thing.
That is different. See, grammar is important.
Yeah.
That's very different.
Yeah.
And then
punctuation, rather.
It was some
Angelica? Go ahead.
A foreign. Who's Angelica?
Oh, it really matters where you put the comma when you're writing to Angelica. If you're Alexander Hamilton, it turns out, musically speaking. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't understand this
and
allusion
you
that you're
shouldn't.
making.
It's in the script or the libretto of Hamilton.
That
she notices that he put a comma after the word dearest, which means he thinks that she's his dearest instead of just like Dear Angelica.
Are you saying that I shouldn't know this because you don't think I can afford to see Hamilton?
I don't think you should know the Hamilton score as well as I do because you have more time. Less time.
Less time.
Yeah.
I'm very busy. I started this thing when people tell me how busy and successful I am. I don't correct them. I just go, all right.
That's right. Good.
Oh, so here's my... So the guy who deleted his account, he was on CNN or one of these things, and he's a foreign man, and he's not anti-Trump. Oh. And he says he actually likes some of his business practices. He claims that he was just flagged. His job is he gets all the flagged tweets, like someone said something inappropriate, and then he monitors them and he deletes or suspends accounts based on that. And he says he didn't know it was the president. Or
is that sort of like the spin that his people are putting around this situation so that like he doesn't get stoned? In the streets.
Do they still do that? I guess they do.
I mean, kids probably get stoned every night, but my point is...
that's a different thing.
My point is that, he just didn't want this kind of attention, and so he's saying, it's completely an accident, didn't have enough caffeine, sorry, oops.
I mean, I would trust your case over his.
No, I don't know. It could be right that he was just, like, addressing flagged accounts. It could be right.
He seemed very genuine, anyways.
He did seem genuine, yeah. And
that's all I had to share.
But he was kind of my hero, and now he's just like, eh.
See, the
story did get worse when you realized who it was.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And he was like, I sort of kicked it up the chain. I didn't think it would go anywhere, and I'm back in Germany now. And then it's like,
pretty much what he said.
Yeah.
You could work for the guy.
Also, here's Taylor, there's 9 different pictures of me wearing T-shirts. Was also his thing.
That was his thing, yeah. So Taylor, do we have Taylor's website? So I want to know how much energy. Yeah, so I wanted to know like your thoughts about your website and like because it seems like we're more current with our social media, but yet we feel like we have to have a website, but it's never up to date.
What I want my website to just be my face and then links to my. This is the worst thing you could have done.
So he's not proud of it.
Oh really? I think it's
very out of date.
It has you without pants, and that's
the shot is really great.
Thank you. Fun. It's just out of everything. It's just I update. The only thing I update is the schedule. So
what I like about that photograph is like the thought bubble is wait, there's a photographer here.
But it doesn't even make sense because it's a picture of my album. It's like Laughter I Hardly Know Her is my album, which is available on iTunes.
All right, so that's the thing with websites is they have to be updated like every 6 months, and then we don't have the.
I see that you have a blog link there. Do you?
Yeah,
are you up on that?
And now I just
see nobody's up on their blog link anymore. No, but do you write?
But there he is making out with Heidi Klum. All right, so this needs this. We need to caption this photo.
Yes,
we do need to caption this photo. Okay, so what happened? And is she carrying your child?
I'm carrying her child.
Or vice
Okay.
versa, yeah.
So this is Heidi Klum.
yeah.
There's
and-
Howard Stern is in the picture too.
That's right.
You see his
I don't see Howard.
his hair.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
there
back
it is.
there,
There, yeah. And he just seems like unfazed. Like, yeah, Taylor's making out with
How
Heidi.
many times did you get to kiss Heidi Klum?
A few times.
Wow.
This was I don't want to say anything. Is she listening to this?
Well,
Never. She doesn't have the internet.
Bliss, I kissed her on the mouth and was very happy about it.
I bet.
For a Jewish guy to kiss a German lady, I think it's a special thing.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
It's-
Yeah, heal the world, make it a better
exactly.
place.
Yeah. A lot of bad, weird things happen.
All right. So, but what I was mentioning to Joe about sort of your strategy on America's Got Talent was like you took advantage of every opportunity, not just the performance 3 minutes that you were given. Like every moment that you were on camera,
Very smart.
you took advantage and you turned it into a bit. And even like Heidi's like disdain of you turned that into like a love affair. Like you took everything and made it fuel.
Yeah, I think the reason I have a career is because she was mean to me. She didn't like my comedy one time.
No
and
kidding.
then I don't think I
You
would have made it
turned that
past,
around completely.
I don't think I would have made it past that round if she had not been. Because my set was whatever. It's just very like my first time. It was you're neutered going on a show like this, and also I'm trying to think what jokes should I do, and you're supposed to do your best stuff every time, but then you want to save stuff for later, so you're supposed to be better every time, but you do your same best stuff every time. It's very confusing and terrifying, and
It's like poker. You got to know when to hold them.
Well, exactly, because you have to be good enough and use the good stuff early on to get you through.
Yeah.
But then if you use up all the good stuff, it's like, God.
They want you to be better every time. But then Heidi said I was inappropriate for kids, and then but then the people were like boo, and then I learned that like if there's controversy, then people are more passionate and excited to vote for you. Then you have an energy behind you, and that became like a storyline. But I think I won because of the introductions to my segments. Though we were talking in the back, he did the coming up next.
I'm the announcer for America's Got Talent.
Right.
Yeah.
You like my impression of you?
That was very good. Coming up next. Yeah. It's America's Got Talent.
If we had not had this conversation before, when you were introducing this show, I was just like, oh my God, this guy's so good.
This guy is so loud. Yeah.
And so even when it was like sort of backstage with the guy, Nick Cannon, right?
Yeah.
You always had funny quips like armed, and you were like armed and ready to go.
Yeah, I was very like overly. I tried to think of every scenario that something could happen. Like if the judges say, you're like this, I had a line, and they said like this, I had a line. But it wasn't, I didn't work out for the most part, but sometimes
But you were ready, yeah.
I was able to be ready sometimes, and my interactions with the judges after when they criticized me, like saying good or bad things, and my reactions to that, I get more attention for that than my actual act. Like people... Because most people go on these shows and they're like you suck, and then they're like, all right, thank you, you know, like, right. So I was able to battle a little bit and be silly.
Love that.
And
yeah, so he'd get laughs like every opportunity, including like for your last performance, they want you to do what was your you describe it.
Oh, they want you to reenact a performance you've already done before. And the judges, the producers were just like, do an act you've already done before. And if I didn't argue with it, they would have just had me repeat an act. And musicians they do like. They'll do the same song but with like a choir behind it or a band or something
amazing, yeah.
But for comedy, it doesn't work. And then my producer, who's a really good guy, but the same producer who's producing the comedian is producing the dancer and then the ventriloquist and everything, so they don't get every art in particular. And he was like, well, just do the same theme. And I'm like, I don't have a bunch of different jokes about the same theme, you know, because they don't get that the good thing about being a comedian on this show is you have all this material that you've been working, to create a new act every time, you know?
Yeah.
So what he did was he thought, well, I'll do the same set, but I'll have a choir. So he goes, can I have a choir? So he had a choir say his punchlines, or they sang them, right?
Well, I had so I did the same act as before, but then I had I have a joke about a camel. I had an actual camel come out. And then I said, Heidi Klum, I hope you liked my animal jokes because you were married to a seal. Oh. And then I did I had a joke I did in semifinals where the punchline is black poodles love fat white bitches, whatever the whole joke is. And so I said, can I have a choir say those lines? And they were like, no. They were adamantly saying, we'll give you all this stuff. And I fought as kindly as I
He
could.
fought for his choir.
I had to
Good
talk
for
to the
you.
executive producer and stuff, who's such a good guy, but they want the show to be good, you know. But
Yeah.
also they don't want to. The less they have to do, the better. But then also, I mean, they're down to do crazy stuff, but they never.
Yeah.
They're a comedian. They don't get it. And
Right.
I was like, I want fireworks. Can I get a choir? Can I get a guy in a camel suit? They're just like, what? And my producer was like, no. And I was like, please let me talk to the executive producer. And
Wow.
And they said, listen, the only reason we're letting you do this is because they record the choir beforehand.
Oh,
so they're just
okay.
actors up there.
Oh,
and
no
they
kidding.
They do
I
audio
didn't
before.
know that.
Really?
Wow.
Is that bad that I'm saying that?
No,
I don't know.
that's okay.
It's the best.
That's
No.
behind the scenes
Well,
stuff.
they
That's
did,
good.
They did for me at least. I mean,
Yeah.
so they were coming in for so they went in for the opera group that they recorded for them previously in some studio that cost like tens of thousands of dollars an hour, like just some legendary place. And they said they're already going to be in there, so we can record them singing "Black Poodles Love Fat White Bitches."
Oh.
And that's the only. If there wasn't a singing group that was already doing it, they
Right,
would have
they
done
were
it.
just actors
Sorry.
up there.
I got so nervous, I hit myself.
I'm just so excited that they got to include that in a moment of their career.
Yeah.
Where they're on record as singing those words. It's
I mean,
really special.
And you know, that executive producer I work with as well when I do my announcing for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told Taylor, I do that all. It takes like 15 minutes to do the whole season, all the live stuff, because I'm just saying it's the results show, it's the semifinals, and then I'm all done. And the exec producer goes, "God, I wish I had your job. I have to be here every
day
thing."
with all these choirs.
Yeah.
It's bumming me out that the choir is fake. The one that we see, and it's making me wonder whether your intro was real or not now, or was that recorded and were you lip syncing? I don't know.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what to believe
It's
anymore.
actually Louise.
Sometimes they do it as a backup too, you know? Like, I believe piano players are live sometimes. It just depends on the circumstances.
Interesting.
But because they don't want the fault to be on the background performers. Like, say
Right.
you're the
Oh,
singer,
that's interesting.
and then like the guitar player in the back fucks it up. Like, you'd be like, what the fuck?
They could be the real choir,
Wow,
just lip
that's-
syncing to something they sang earlier.
They could what?
They could be the real choir, just lip syncing to something they sang earlier.
Oh yeah, why not use the real choir?
Yeah,
But they want
because
beautiful people.
Well, because you have to have like a
Not
sense
the
of
choirs
you have to
are
move. You have to move like someone who knows music. So
Wow, look at you
I
move.
don't think you can just.
Louise, you were in it. You had
Right?
that.
You should have
could-
been the choir.
Should have
Yeah.
been the whole choir.
Next time.
Are you excited about googling Kirk?
I'm extremely
can't
excited.
wait.
I'm excited.
All right, so
that
let's-
stressed me out, honestly. I thought that
Really
be
looking
fun.
at your-
I didn't
yeah.
like that.
But you had a good thing, like you've got a photo and it looks
But
very
it's
official.
old, and I feel like I self-judge. I judge myself, you know. And then people think I'm older.
I think you
Oh,
did
look,
fine
there's-
on the
there's
googling.
Kirk.
You
Thank
did
you.
fine.
Kirk.
All right, so there's Kirk.
Yeah.
And
So that's what
he-
happens when you're a writer with like no social media presence is the photos are of other people
Of other people that you've
who
written
you
for.
may or may not have worked with.
There you
People
go. James
also
Burrows.
searched for.
Yours is way better than mine.
Wow.
And so can we click on Kirk's IMDb? Because here's where you're going to
Yeah.
get blown away.
Oh, okay,
Because
cool.
it's like 1,000 episodes of all these shows.
What's with the J? Is that because you wanted the J
Oh,
or the Union?
good question.
I wanted the J. Although,
There's so many other Kirk Rudells.
No, it's weird. I always wrote with the middle initial in, and I don't know why. I think it just felt when I first started
It just-
writing, like it just felt more like that's what a legit writer
Yeah, exactly.
does.
Yeah.
But Michael J. Fox
Oh, I was
was
just gonna
on.
say
He
that.
was the star
Yeah.
of Spin City, which was my first job,
Right.
and he had to add the J.
He did,
because there was already
in the union.
someone in the union named
Yeah.
Mike Fox.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's even more trivia about that. Michael J. Fox's middle initial is not J.
It's not J.
It's but he didn't want to be Michael a Fox because, he was already pretty foxy.
But
and
he said he went to, I guess the guy who was Mike Fox was an older actor, and Mike looked into it, and the guy hadn't worked recently. So when Mike was going to join the guild, he reached out to this other Mike Fox and said, "Hey, I'm Michael Fox. I'm working now, and would you mind if I took the name?
Yeah.
Unless you're busy." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I mind." That's you can't have it. And then that older actor passed away, and a couple of years later, Mike was branded as Michael J.
Michael
Fox,
J.
and he
Fox.
wasn't going to change it, but I believe he called SAG and said, "Hey, it's Michael J. Fox calling," and the person who answered the phone said, "We've been waiting for you to call."
So
And,
can I ask, what does J stand for?
Jonathan?
Oh, all right.
I'm a Taylor John.
Are you?
Yeah.
This is going very well.
Yeah.
This is great.
I feel very good about what's happening here
so
on this
Kirk,
couch.
so you wrote for Spin City.
Wait, I have a note to
Yeah,
add.
sure.
You know, Tom Wilson, he was Thomas F. Wilson in Back to the Future, played Biff.
Oh yeah.
And then Tom Wilson died, and he took Tom Wilson.
Oh, you know,
That was
we
worth
just
it.
do a thing
It's a brutal
about him
business.
a few
Yeah.
episodes ago.
Once
we
you
were-
die,
Yeah, we were talking about start.
He's
Back to the Future.
He was doing a performance with a ukulele,
Right.
and singing some sort of a comedy.
Yeah,
bit
he has a
about
really funny song about Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
I
the
shared tour with
characters.
him. He's a great stand-up comedian.
That if we have him on the show, we'll play, but I don't want to try and play it without his permission because last week our Haley Kiyoko video was taken down. So
Oh, yeah.
we're going to tread very carefully.
So Kirk,
Yes.
Will and Grace. Have they called you back for
Kirk
the
is in
new-
that bathtub. He's just
really?
below the surface.
Oh, I see
Can't
him.
quite see.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There he
Yeah,
is.
no,
There he
I
is.
had a delightful time. It was a fantastic experience. I adore the actors. I adore the writers, and they're great. And I was on another show when they picked it back up.
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah.
but they're friends of mine who are on it, and so
Isn't it? It's a testament to how it was kind of in the fabric, the comedic fabric of America, for that show to come back.
and it's funny. I like that show was a great place to do dick jokes and really like broad, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But it was also, we would get letters from kids who would say, "Hey, I live in the middle of the country in a small town, and I'm the only gay person I know." And when I turn on the TV once a week, I see people who I see my people.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a world out
amazing.
there for me.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to graduate from high school, and I'm going to move to New York, and I'm going to go meet my friends and have my crew. And so it was an occasional great reminder as we were going to work and it was really a privilege to be on a show that not only could we sort of, do goofy dick jokes
Funny,
and have fun
silly
and tell
jokes,
stories,
but-
but also feel like it was resonating in a
Right.
different way, and it was really important to people.
Boy, that is so cool.
And that's,
Yeah.
again, it's really unusual, and I think like Blackish is doing it now. There are shows that now can have that resonance and can do that, but it's rare, and definitely was something that I
Were
appreciated.
you a producer on Will and Grace? Or
One of many,
Gotcha.
yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have those attachments that I sent you, but I sent you attachments. Not that one yet.
Who are you talking to, Louise?
That's
I have-
that one. Click on that one. So there you have
There-
co-executive.
oh, there it is.
And that was when Jack had his cafe, and was it Chez Jacques, or was it just Jacques? I forget but he had one table outside of his apartment that was his cafe. So
Love that show.
Will and Grace, I think maybe top 3 shows of all time,
Yeah.
because the 4 performers are the peak of whatever they do. And then the blend of the 4 of them and the writing, there's just nothing better. It's just so good. And on top of that, to be like so on the cutting edge of what society needed to have happen to normalize every human,
Absolutely.
and who they love and how they are, and just the idiosyncrasies of each individual person being celebrated. You can be like a lush like Karen, and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
good for you. No, I'm just kidding.
But also the set is iconic. It's almost like all the you knew All in the Family set and what that meant, but the Will and Grace set, you feel like you lived in it.
Yeah.
You knew when they were going to the refrigerator where it was.
You knew where everything was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And I came onto that show after it had been going for a couple of years. So it was fun. My first day on that set was fun because I was walking into a place that I had seen on TV many times.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to.
So cool.
So did you feel immediately welcomed, or was there like a cool kid table?
There was a little cool kid stuff. I had some friends on the staff already, so they made it easier for me, but it was definitely, you had to still prove that you belonged in the room.
So describe the writer's room on Will and Grace. Like, who's there and what's it like?
We would work 2 writers' rooms. So we would start in one room together, but then to do rewrites, we would break into 2 groups. And one group would do one act, one group would do the other act.
Interesting.
And then we would stick it together. That was back in the old days when we would have
Wow.
2-act structure as opposed to 3-act half hours, which is more common now. And so we would we'd do a table read, go back up to the room and do our rewrite. And there would be, the groups would be a little fluid, but we would kind of have teams that you would just become locked
Gravitate
into.
to, yeah.
And one of the fun things was trying, because then we'd put the script together and go through it at the end of the rewrite, and we would play the parts in the room and sort of act out the
who were you?
script. It depended. If we were in the small room, I might be one person. In the big room, I might just be listening. Or actually, the fun thing was Bobby Cannavale was on the show as Will's boyfriend, Vince, and so I would read Vince when Bobby wasn't there. I'd read him a table read sometimes, and there's always a fine line where in the room I'm not an actor. I'm a shower singer actor. So in the room, when it's like a little safe place with other writers, I'll
can stretch.
Oh no, I'll go crazy. But being at the table and trying to do my Bobby Cannavale impression in front of the other actors always makes me self-conscious. Or anytime I have to do that on shows where I have to read, because it's like, oh shit, the actors, we do impressions of you all the time. Like I'm the guy that does a good Bobby. But one of the fun things in that dynamic is trying to crack, when we would split up into two rooms to do the acts, putting it together and trying to crack the other room up with what we'd come up with.
Oh, that's great.
cool.
And basically, it's
Love
like,
it.
that scene that didn't work today, we took a pass at it, and feeling like, can we make our friends in the other room laugh and get them excited about it too? And then they would do the same thing for us. We go, holy crap, how'd you come up with that?
That's awesome.
And then if there was something they put in, we might go, oh, that's great, and we can actually call it back in this scene and sort of stick it together.
So we've turned comedy into competitive sport.
Yes.
That's amazing. That sounds like so much fun.
Was
Wouldn't that
super
be
fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
Will and Grace has a lot of really specific topical references. Would sometimes like the best punchline just be dependent upon like what the reference was that would make it to the final script?
Yes, but it's tricky because what you saw on TV a lot would be the fourth or fifth take on stage too, because and that's a weird thing about live half-hour stuff is you spend weeks and weeks working on a story and writing the drafts and rewriting it, and then you get it in front of the audience and you get a laugh on the first take, and then you go, all right, any other pitches on that, any backup jokes, anyone have something great, let's run in. Someone comes up with something and you run it in, it's going to get a bigger laugh because it's new. And so for the audience, the audience is delighted. It's a magic trick. Oh my God, that's a new joke. They just came up with a new thing on the spot and they just said it and we heard it one way, now we're hearing it a different way. And so then when you go to edit, or when the network does its notes on what they would love to see in the edit, they're usually going to go, well, what about the fourth take with that giant laugh? And you go, yeah, it was a giant laugh because we put the dick joke in.
Right.
Because but what about the thing that we'd had for weeks that we loved, that was really smart and elegant and kind of cool, and maybe not the biggest laugh on the surface, but all right, fine, we'll put the dick joke in. And we would huddle up and do a lot of rewriting on stage. And actually, when Will and Grace ended, there was a little documentary on the show, and they came and filmed us for a week, and I was filmed reading Bobby Cannavale at the table, which was really embarrassing. And then we had to do a huddle, and they filmed our huddle where we were trying to pitch a joke on a scene, and I ended up pitching something, and everyone was like, yeah, and it went in, and that was in the special the example of the writers on stage and they come up with this stuff and it gets sailed in, and it's like broadcast news. It's so active.
Kurt.
It aired, and then I went into work the next day, and one of the other writers looked at me and he goes, that joke didn't really make sense, did it? And I'm like, it didn't. It quacked like it made sense, and we were all sort of, the adrenaline was going in the moment, but it actually, if you took it apart, it was the worst joke I'd ever pitched on stage that had gone in, and that was the one that they got. So.
Oh man, I love it.
Wow, that is really cool. And then you went on to American Dad.
I went to American Dad. I
which
went
is like
on,
a completely different comedic sensibility.
And kind of fun, because I had done live comedy for a really long time, and then to do animation was a great change of pace.
What are some of the actors in American Dad?
So it's Seth MacFarlane.
Seth, obviously, yeah.
Seth, Scott Grimes, Rachel MacFarlane,
right? Yeah.
Seth's sister, and then Wendy Shaw, D. Bradley Baker.
D. Bradley, oh my God,
who works in everything.
He's unbelievable
and is amazing. And then with the best thing about animation is super fun, because, and someone had told me it's a control freak writer's dream, because the thing you pitch in the room. On live action, you may pitch something in the room. The actor is hungover when you go to run through, and they don't say it the way you wanted to hear it, and then you bail on it or write something new, or you don't quite get it shot in front of the audience or on location quite the way you had it in your head, and that's just what you have to live with. And animation, you're going to get it to look and sound the way you want it to look and sound because you can nitpick. Like, I want her eyes half lidded. No, open them up all the way. You can be really specific about that stuff, and you can sit in the booth and just
would
go.
They be doing it recording as a group? Or was it like one actor at a time?
One at a time.
Yeah.
And so, but you could go in and it was fun for actors, and you could call friends in to do it too. So I would have actor friends who I would bring in for stuff, and for them it's a blast because there's no hair and makeup, there's no big wait, we validate the parking, you're in, it's 20 minutes, you do a bunch of takes and you leave.
Thanks for calling me. I really appreciate it. I had so much fun. I loved the show.
Wasn't it great?
It was an honor.
I felt like we really connected across the glass, and we really,
I feel like that's not a real memory.
I was being facetious because he never called me once.
I see.
And
I get it
invited
now.
me.
I see.
Yes.
That
I was trying to shame him publicly.
Oh, he'll be calling. Are you aware, Kirk, that there is an American Dad fandom and that you have a page?
I'm only aware of that because you told me that, and now I'm seeing that's exactly what I would expect it to be.
It's rather sad.
That's about right.
So,
It's a little sparse.
Yeah. So what are American Dad fans like?
Pretty stoned.
I would figure.
That's again, there's a consistent like 1.2 million of them or something who watch because it migrated from Fox to TBS and the fans went with it.
Yep.
And they get super high and they watch the show, and then it's like whatever they were watching before kind of rolls into American Dad and then rolls out into whatever's next, and that's it. They're pretty happy.
Okay, and so, but what I find interesting that is on your resume, we've got American Dad and then The New Yorker, which is like the world's fanciest magazine.
So I started out writing plays and then got into TV, and I very much enjoy what I do, and I get to tell stories and make up fake people, and that's a blast. But there is that trade-off where when I was writing plays, it was just I'd write a play and we'd put it up in the theater, and what I wrote would go right to an audience, and that was fun. And TV, there's a lot of stuff in the way, so that great idea you have has to go through
so much,
so much, and I get it. They're paying for it. I'm not. So, but there's a lot of notes, and there's a lot of different sort of like guardrails you have to steer around or watch out for, and so a lot of times something would end up on TV and I go, yeah, that started as a story inspired by a thing that happened in my life, and it doesn't really sound like it or look like it anymore. And it's fine. It's a decent episode of TV, but it's not, it's a collaboration, and that's what it is. And a dear friend of mine had got something in the New Yorker in the Shouts and Murmurs section. I was like, how'd you do that? And he goes, I submitted it to this person, and they took it and they ran it, and that sounded really fun and interesting, and so I wrote one and sent it in, and they ran it, and it was incredibly fun.
Wow.
And the first one was called Secrets of Magic Revealed.
So you can go to New Yorker. These are all of Kirk's. He has like a bunch of bylines, but
just look at that font. You know it's New Yorker.
Yeah, it's fancy.
New Yorker.
Yeah.
But they're super nice, and they don't take them all, but every once in a while, and it's one that it's a really really specific.
My first massage.
That was a fun one.
That's great.
So Kirk's going to read.
Oh shoot!
Good.
Right.
He's going to read a selection from his most recent New Yorker article. I believe it is inspired by a night at the symphony with your wife. Oh. And in case you think that the New Yorker is too fancy for you, let us prove otherwise.
I love the New Yorker.
This is what's rolling through his mind.
Do you have an ascot for Kirk?
I imagine it. It's in the bathtub with Will and Grace.
Oh. This was just, basically the New Yorker thing is just every once in a while, if I could think of something in around 800 words that seems funny, it goes right from my computer to them, and if they like it, they run it, and if they don't, they don't. So this was one after going to a symphony with my wife. I thought, what would the internal monologue be of someone like me in this place anyway, and it sounded something like this. So he's there and he's bummed out, and he goes, "You think for what these tickets cost, the seat would at least be comfortable. It's like a 2x4 wrapped in red velvet. Those balcony seats are probably pretty plush. I guess if you're about to be assassinated, you deserve to be comfortable. Ooh, but sometimes the assassins are in the balconies. That guy looks like he could be an assassin. He's got assassin hair. Just listen to the music, listen to the music, listen to the music. Very relaxing, except for that conductor flapping around. I know that technically orchestras need conductors, but I don't really get why. Like, if all the musicians are really good at playing their instruments and they all have the music in front of them, couldn't they just play it? I mean, sure, someone needs to tell them when to start and stop, but other than that, they're not even looking at him. I bet it annoys them when he's all, play soft, look at my stick, getting very low. Now play loud, look at my stick way up here. If I were in the orchestra, I'd probably roll my eyes when he did that. Just enough so the audience could be like, that guy gets it.
I love it.
So now,
That's fun.
which brings us to a point in the program where we have a little surprise for Kirk. It's an early piece of writing that he did that showed some of the promise at a young age. Do you have that graphic for us?
Oh my. What have you done?
So this is, you'll note the letterhead.
Look
Kirk,
at the letterhead.
possibly age 6 or 7.
No
had
J.
His own letterhead. Dear Louise, thank you for the postcards that you sent us. They were very pretty, and we enjoyed looking at them. Please note the penmanship, because
Very, very good.
very advanced.
Yeah, and staying on the lines.
And then he writes, on March 3rd, comma, my class had a play, and I was Don Quixote. Have you ever been in a play? For the past 2 weeks, I've been on school vacation. One day last week, we went to the zoo. We have another graphic. Okay.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it kind of leaves you hanging. It's a 2-pager.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. The clowns were one of the best parts to me. So that was a foreshadowing of the comedy
Wow,
career. Right.
yes.
Love and kisses, Kirk.
And you notice there are no hugs. It's all kisses.
Yep.
It's all X's.
Yeah, so thank you, Marcy and Joel,
Wow.
for telling your son to write to me.
And he sent that to you 3 years ago?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah, we have a lot of really, optimistic hopes for his bright future. Do you have any memory of any of the things that are in that letter or having written it?
I don't remember writing it.
Right.
I definitely remember going to the circus.
Do you remember that stationery?
I do remember that
'Cause that was
stationery.
key.
That's a very 70s font stationery, too. No, I remember going to the circus before we knew that circuses were evil,
Right.
and tortured the animals.
Yeah.
Right.
The circus was fun, and I remember like this when Ringling Brothers would come, you'd go to the circus and you'd get 2 things. You'd get a little flashlight on some kind of lanyard that you would swing around,
Nice.
and that was
Well, that was
super
dangerous right there,
And
yeah.
then you'd get a plastic sword with like a scabbard with fake jewels in it, which was also dangerous.
Very.
Wow.
Those were the 2 things you got at
You
the
can
circus.
Poke an eye out and hit somebody in
Yep.
the head. Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
So
Now, can I just ask? Now, was it 8 years old when you wrote that?
I think he was. I'm going to
10?
because look. All right. So full disclosure, this
yeah.
kid was some kind of genius.
Okay.
I mean, it was bizarre.
But he obviously looked up to you, and
Yes,
how old were? Well, how old?
I was probably 15 or 20. I don't know.
So it wasn't like you were working at Premier Radio Networks, and he
No.
was thinking that maybe I can get a job. You just were a favorite cousin.
He was too young to know about.
Yeah.
Sort of like the brown nosing that's required in this industry.
this was real. He really.
No, we were his Buffalo cousins, and
Yeah.
we were the big kids. And
What's a buffalo cousin?
you live in Buffalo.
That does sound like
That's like Eskimo brother. Like a buffalo
It sounds like something like on the prairie where they go out and they herd up cows and sit by a campfire with the Buffalo cousins.
That's
right?
my Buffalo cousins. That's
not
funny,
bad.
Taylor.
Classy.
No, but see, Kirk and BJ were the fancy boys who lived in Manhattan and went to collegiate. And we were like the suburban Buffalo kids who went to like the public school.
And you were in the city, living
Yep.
in the city?
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
Upper West Side?
Upper West Side.
80s? Where
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
I got him
Look at
pegged
you.
right
Yeah.
there. I got him pegged.
That means you're Jewish?
yes, ish.
Yes,
And
please
ish?
emphasize the ish.
Jewish,
I did
and
my
creative.
23andMe thing.
You
And
did?
I
What
did.
are we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're like 98% Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
Ashkenazi.
And
Yeah.
the rest is vaguely pan-European.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I hope you were going to say Native American.
No,
Damn
no.
it. All right.
So I sent that to my mom.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's good.
Why is it? I heard cause I'm Jewish, so I can call out Jews. I feel comfortable doing that, but I feel
Sure.
like I have to acknowge I'm also Jewish. I don't be like you're a Jew
Right.
and be like leave it.
I often say I'm married to a Jewish girl, so then
Okay.
I can get away with a little bit or get in. and be part of the
yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But I'm a half Jew, But I believe. Why is it that it's like people have told me that 23andMe it's 49% if you're half Jew. It says 98% if you're Ashkenazi. Why don't you can't be 100%? Is that true?
I don't know if anyone's 100%
I don't think anyone
anything.
is 100%.
Yeah.
Because humans are just we migrate.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole wall thing is just so ridiculous. I mean, we've never not migrated. We just are always looking for a better way of life. That's just sort of what we do. And when you see a pretty lady there,
You're against the Chris
you
Hart.
might have a baby, and then she's going to have part of this and part of that.
Boom shikawan.
Thus make the mutt.
That's
What was your question?
That's disgusting.
sorry.
We're taking questions now.
And then sometimes two buffalo cousins get together.
Yeah, it's
And
like a
then-
third buffalo.
I think my great grandparents were Buffalo cousins.
Oh, so you could be my cousin too then, Taylor?
Yeah,
Wow.
honestly.
So what were your memories of coming to Buffalo?
Kirk.
Would you look forward to it? Or would you
Yeah,
be
no,
like,
it was
oh,
fun
we
because
gotta
there were
go to
lots of
Buffalo?
older. It was cool. There were lots of older cousins who were nice. There was, we had one.
Susie and Jeremy. And
This would be
Yeah.
like a week-long trek that you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, there was Jeremy who had been in the Secret Service, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was kind of badass.
Oh my
and then there was
God.
He is
another
badass.
cousin who had like 5 Afghan dogs who were.
Oh, Ramsey.
No,
Roz.
Roz.
Yeah.
And so everyone's house was kind of cool and different, and there was a lot of love for the
Have you
for
got
the
that
Manhattans.
picture?
So cool.
It was fun.
I love that.
I think I was taking like photography in high school or something, and I remember I blew this up on the enlarger in the darkroom, and it's a picture of Kirk.
Oh, gotta see that.
I think I know
Yeah.
that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And
I have
who
that.
knows what he's doing, or maybe he's with Will and Grace. I don't know what's happening.
It looks like he's falling out of a car.
But that's-
Somebody's.
Wait, you took that picture?
I did.
All right. So I feel like I was like sprawled across Amy or something
Yeah.
like for that
Oh,
shot,
okay.
and then
Could be.
yeah.
It could be me. It could have been
It's a
Amy. I'm
great
not
shot.
sure. We were both in the same class. My sister's a year older. We both took this printing class with Mr. Bonaventura, who had the requisite missing finger.
Bonaventura.
The shop instructor with the missing finger.
Yeah.
He was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And but we learned the dark room and the enlarger and all the different trays and the fixer and
Cool.
yeah. And so
and there's the result right there.
yeah, and just certain things that you have sort of make the cut every time you're packing up and moving. There's certain things that are just like, oh, that's Kirk.
Yeah.
So it just goes in the.
I think that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
So now we get
somewhere,
back to
somewhere Mr. Bonaventura has that picture
Mr.
also.
Bonaventura probably has that picture.
Was that a bathtub photo?
No, I don't think so. It was summer. It was always it would be summer. They'd come vacation
Right.
times.
That's right. It was the end of it was August in Buffalo.
I remember how Uncle Joe had the rose garden in the backyard and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. August in Buffalo, so at night it's getting down to about 32 degrees
Yeah.
already.
No,
It's-
actually,
It's America's Riviera.
Yes.
Right there. And chicken wings in case
We had
in case
chicken
they haven't
wings.
told you. There's
And
chicken wings in Buffalo.
and
Wow.
we had humidity, so
Right.
Oh.
sometimes little kids ran around with their shirts off. So Taylor, it turns out if you Google you, like you're famous enough that at the bottom of the page,
Yeah.
it has like related searches.
I'm famous enough.
No,
That's where I'm at.
So
You're
have
famous
you
enough?
have you looked at your related searches? They're really interesting.
I Google myself a couple of times
A day?
Oh, I went through that phase. Now, like, but then now, so I went through the phase where like there's too much weird stuff. Then sometimes I get to like, oh, there's nothing good. There's nothing bad. Then I get scared. There's too much bad. And there's not enough bad.
Right.
I think nothing is bad. You
So
know?
enough people have typed this.
So I have not. I've not
Enough
done
people
that.
have typed this
Yeah.
to where Google thinks that
Oh, look at that.
maybe there's an answer.
I've never looked at this
It's
one.
Taylor Williamson net worth.
Oh,
So
the
does that-
autofill.
Net worth.
Does that,
oh,
does that
my
mean
God.
that's the most common one?
That
No.
people are typing this in. Taylor Williamson's wife,
Oh, wow.
Heidi Klum, I guess.
Heidi.
Taylor Williamson and Heidi Klum. And so, I'm just wondering, like, is it Heidi Klum who's typing this all the time?
She's checking to see if
Like what you're worth?
Yeah, she's a stalker, man.
Because like I don't know how much of that seal money she's got, but she needs to like trade up, right?
she's got the Heidi Klum money.
She does?
She's like, I think she married like a billionaire guy. Was the first one a billionaire? First husband guy? I think it's like a very
I don't
rich.
know.
he's
You
a
know,
very
it's
large
interesting.
man.
A house that we rented, Louise, for a while,
Yeah.
just below Mulholland, over on Wallingford Drive. Previous residents or tenants were Heidi Klum and Seal.
Wow.
And
I heard they had porn in their bedroom.
well, there were some. Yes, there were naked photos up on the walls, and yeah. it
Wait,
was-
of them?
Of them.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Wait, you rented their house while they lived in it?
Where they were, yes, and we were looking at it, and they were moving out.
And they left the filthy pictures.
Well, they were
on
still there, and we were going. They were trying to, they were going to leave at the end of the month, and they were looking for a new tenant.
They thought that was a selling point.
Yeah.
Because they're that into themselves.
Wait, so you told her this story that there was filthy?
No,
No.
I had seen it on the internet.
Stop.
Do you want to
it.
Google
No,
that?
there's a thing on the internet
You guys
that
Google
they talk about. It was on TMZ.
Heidi Klum and Seal
Nude
bedroom
art. Yeah.
Oh, but okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like now I'm like, is Heidi gonna see this and think I'm like disrespecting her?
No. We'll
She posts
believe
naked
me.
pictures of herself on
In
the
editing,
internet.
it will be Kirk who asked this question. And Taylor who said, why, I've never.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, we need these sound bites. So it's like, please don't. It's inappropriate. Go
I
ahead.
don't approve of any of this.
Thank
Click,
you.
No.
All right.
click, search.
Quick. Yeah.
All right, so Heidi Klum naked in bed. No, I don't
Are we
want
looking for it? Oh,
no
naked
video.
with hubby Seal. There it is.
This show's. You were worried about last week. The show was taken off there. This one's gonna be taken off there
Yeah,
for being
you're right.
pornography.
For sure. So
You're
if you're
absolutely
listening at home, the visuals are, I think it's just black and white art that's looks like what Will
It's
has in
art.
his apartment on the new season of Will and Grace. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
It's pretty sexy.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I need naked pictures of myself in the well, anywhere really.
I'm not volunteering. I'm sorry.
Right. Next time.
All right. Maybe whoever took that bathroom.
You do have a dark room though.
I had, well, Mr. Bonaventura had one.
Okay, gotcha.
But, it's by the way of his
Yeah, I'm so confused.
I don't know what's happening.
It's okay.
So you're both really good on Twitter. Like, this is what you two have in common.
Really?
So if this were like speed dating, this would be what you would be bonding over right now.
Aw.
So because Kirk is really good at Twitter, and Taylor, you're really good at Twitter.
Oh,
So-
thanks.
So first, let's go to Taylor's Twitter. And do you have like any favorite tweets? I mean, you're so kind of like yourself, but
I don't like this show, by the way. Can I tell you this?
it's not your
Which-
favorite
No,
show.
I'm being silly, but this stresses me out to
So
see.
what?
Oh,
Have
okay.
you pinned
Really?
any tweets, Taylor? Have you pinned any tweets?
I pinned one tweet.
All
Apparently.
right. So what's the top
Wow.
tweet that we have?
Taylor, 73.9 thousand followers.
Yeah, he's really
Dang.
famous.
Yeah.
So what is your what?
I taught a girl from Mexico. Dang, I'm really excited about that. She never heard like dang. All right, my booty is in the eye of the butt holder. That's my.
Oh, that's a pinned tweet. Okay.
I just thought that's. I used to pin my schedule, but then I don't care. It's a pun that I liked. It's a pun, it's a
I
pun.
like it too. And then you have Carol Burnett. That's cool. And
was that at her stage?
I
at
just
CBS?
retweeted Jim
okay.
Carrey.
Yeah.
But I was there yesterday randomly, and I was on the set of Price is Right. It was like so tiny and amazing.
Yeah.
I was
Really?
like, I was excited. I was like, what do you get it?
Giddy.
No, to get nostalgic, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
I worked on that set for Pictionary with Alan Thicke.
Oh, yeah?
We did about 110 episodes there.
So cool.
Yeah. And it was, during the week, it would be Price is Right, and on the weekends, we would shoot Pictionary there.
I worked underneath Alan Thicke. And
Oh, wait a minute.
Not
Hello.
in the way
Okay.
you're
And-
picturing.
yes.
Like that would be pictured in Heidi Klum's bedroom. But
Okay.
like PM Magazine was underneath the Thick of the Night sound
Thick
stage.
of the Night. Yes. That
Yes.
goes way back.
And so you
Late
could hear
80s.
him making his staffers cry in the hallways.
Oh my God.
He was a tough guy to be
Yeah, he was
around.
tough. Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen. I think
But-
he's great. I love
Yes,
the Thick
very
family,
funny.
and I look forward to working with them one day. Wait,
Yeah.
can I share a thing?
Sure.
I think
Please.
it's relatable to this wonderful special crew. I'm like a comedy nerd, and I went to. I saw like last minute. There's a documentary on Rose Marie, who was from
Oh.
Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh,
Sure.
I want to see that.
So
Yeah.
they've been doing screenings in LA, and like one had Carl Reiner, one had Dick Van Dyke,
Wow.
and Dan Harmon. And scheduling wise, I went to the Dick Van Dyke and Dan Harmon
Nice.
one. And
Oh, that's cool.
It was what a special story. Did you watch Dick Van Dyke Show as a kid?
Oh,
Or-
I
Love
was
that.
not. I was actually not big into Dick Van Dyke Show.
Wow.
I know.
I don't know who. I don't respect.
And they let you become a comedy
I
writer?
know, and I don't know why. I missed it. Like I had I Love Lucy. I was all over that. There
Yeah.
was some I was all over, and I sort of
God.
missed Dick Van Dyke.
You guys were the Simpsons. You guys were into the Simpsons, right?
No, MASH. Like
MASH.
I was sort of
MASH.
mid.
Love
you know,
MASH, yeah.
I could do that.
Well,
but
Dick Van Dyke, I usually watched it in rerun because it went off the air in 64
64,
or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was.
We
but
all
it's
watched
so
it.
classic.
I mean,
oh my God,
everybody
I love
watched
that.
it in rerun. It just, matter
I
of
watched
like.
it live.
You watched it? Did you?
I watched it.
Yeah.
I went to all the taping.
It's just like, I think comedy taste is just really like all what makes you laugh. For example, like I wasn't into the Honeymooners. Like people would be like,
Yeah.
oh, the Honeymooners. I'm like, but he's so mean to,
Yeah.
you know.
Did you like the Honeymooners?
Yeah, I wasn't so into it. I mean, Jackie Gleason was
Gleason was a force of nature and,
yeah.
and incredible. But
Yeah.
yeah.
What about Three Stooges?
No, I was
No.
not a Stooges person.
I like
was
Three
an Abbott
Stooges.
and Costello person.
Oh,
This
like
is
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Wow.
got their taste.
tells a lot.
Marx
Yeah.
Brothers.
I did you like them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. Growing up, I didn't know them. But then this was a thing as like a Jewish comedian. I'm like, I felt guilty for not knowing. Like I can't include anything in the conversation. So that was the Egyptian theaters where the screening for the Rosemary thing was. The one other time I went there was for a Marx Brothers double feature, and it was just me and a bunch of like old single Jewish dudes by themselves. And I sat there the whole time, like the same way you was at the symphony. I was just like, I feel bad for not enjoying this. This is legendary. I should be very grateful. I'm following the footsteps. They're so special. It's the time period, and in all truth, it was brilliant because they were innovative. These jokes were. I've seen these jokes done a million times, but they were the first ones to do them.
Right.
So I had to watch it as like a historical thing. But
Well, I Love Lucy is the same way. It's like you look at the episodes now and you go, yeah, I've seen that story 1,000 times, but they did it the first time.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
invented the storytelling.
They
It's funny.
invented 3-camera.
I was flipping channels with my daughter, and she was probably 7 at the time, and just looking for something, and literally flipped past Lucille Ball, flipped past a rerun, and my daughter went, "Wait, who's that?" I'm
Wow.
like, that's Lucille Ball. And she goes, what is this? And she was,
It
it's
just
black and
caught
white.
her. Yeah.
It caught her. The woman, there was something about it. It was just,
Wow.
magic.
And that's interesting that just transcends every generation. That's just a glimpse of her and you're completely captivated.
Yes,
like,
there was-
I
Yeah.
need to see more.
That's right.
Plus, it was so well lit, and it was shot on film, and it was just.
I did try,
think-
yeah.
And Deborah Messing has a lot of the same quality.
Well, and that's it. And now
Yeah.
for the last 50 years, every sitcom actress has to be defined as it's the next Lucy.
Right,
That's
you're right.
that's
But
that's
Yeah.
what everyone's looking for. Taylor Leone, she's the next Lucy.
Yeah. And
Amanda Bynes is the next Lucy.
And you don't have to be. You can be your own person, but there's got to be something just sort of that's captivating. That's relatable in that they're taking like real life and like taking it up like several notches, but you still see the human and you get that. And
Right.
that's what sings to you. And you're laughing at the same time.
I tried watching an Abbott and Costello movie with my daughter, and that is a slower burn now.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, I was like, these guys are so funny. You're going to love this. And then
Yeah.
it's like, man, it takes a while to get going.
Yeah, the pacing
There's-
is not.
There's
it's
a,
not.
yeah,
it's
they
boom, boom,
really,
boom, boom.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of songs.
I think
There's the Andrews sisters are back. Okay, this was big at the time.
we were taken by the concept that the pictures are moving.
Yeah.
And that, that went a long way.
And I was like, and that's it. And there was a point like Lou Costello going like, there's a mummy behind you. Like, that was funnier in my memory, I think, or in my impression of it than the actual moment seeing it again.
That's so funny, Kirk.
No,
So
but you can currently binge watch on Hulu Will and Grace, and you will pull a muscle because you weren't really meant to watch that many episodes in a row, and it's exhausting because
Yeah.
it's so relentlessly funny. You're just laughing. I mean, Karen and Jack, like,
So good.
I'll say one Will and Grace thing. Speaking of old time TV, which was kind of an amazing thing. We got to do a live episode when I was there,
Oh, that's
yes,
right.
I was going to ask you,
which was super fun.
And there were like 1 billion guest stars, right?
We had Alec
talk-
Baldwin was the main one, but they wanted for the last season, they wanted something special to kick it off. And so they said, what about a live episode? We're like, great. And we had all of the pre-production time. Like, we were trying to build the season out,
Amazing.
but we were also like a little chunk of every week was like this live episode. And we have to, because the timing, you can shoot a normal episode and be 5 minutes over, and that's fine. You'll edit it. You'll
Right.
cut
We'll
it.
take care of it in post.
Live,
Yeah.
you got to be live, and
Right.
no one had made a live episode in a really long time. Rock had done it for a while, but it was
Right,
still,
Rock.
but we hadn't been in that world for a bit, and none of us had ever done one. So we had to try to time it perfectly. And when we shot it that night, we even had at the act break, we got a heads up of, all right, at this point, you're 12 seconds long,
Wow.
and they will dump it and we had a big reveal at the end of the episode. So we had a section at the top of the second act that was detachable in case we were running long, because the laugh spread was huge.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
it was
Well,
really
that's what
fun
you
to
can't time. You can't time the laugh.
time the laugh.
Mostly in a bathroom, and there's a lot of physical.
Oh, that was the second. So we did. So the first one was mostly in the apartment.
Okay.
And then we had, but that's the thing. You can't. The sets had to be really. You couldn't move too much, and so we literally we ran in during the commercial break, and it was Eric McCormick and Alec Baldwin. We're like, all right, guys, we're taking this bit away at the top. Here we go. And they were all pros and did it perfectly, and we did it, and it was a fun episode, and it worked, and it was exhausting. And NBC, because they're a network, they were like, well, that was great. Let's do another one of those.
next week.
You know that thing that worked? Let's do that again.
Oh, my gosh.
And
You didn't have to do an East Coast and a West Coast version, did you?
We did.
Oh, you did?
We did.
Oh, my God.
That's right. We had to do it. We had to do it twice.
Yeah.
And so, so then we had to do another live one, but without quite as much time. Like we had to prep the next one while we were in production. We didn't have that pre-production time.
Wow.
And the second one was in the bathroom, and it was fine, but it wasn't as special as the first one.
All right, so we'll have to go back to Hulu and watch that.
But anyway, But anyway, yes, got to do a live episode,
How
which
fun
was
is
kind
that,
of a crazy.
And back in the radio
experience.
days, like Bob Hope and all those guys, they would do an East Coast and a West Coast version, and then the writers would have 3 hours to decide if we're going to change the jokes for the West Coast version.
Right, right.
Which was cool.
So let's go to Kirk on Twitter. We went to Taylor on Twitter, and boy, we went down
I'm sorry.
a side road
I apologize.
quite a frolic.
I feel Taylor threw us off at the top. Because you immediately almost disavowed it by saying there's a pinned tweet apparently.
No,
or something.
I implore you to follow Taylor on Twitter. He's very funny.
I started following him yesterday. He's hilarious. But you started out your Twitter segment by basically saying as if someone else pinned the tweet.
I didn't pin that. Someone else. Trump's lawyer tweeted the.
Trump's lawyer pinned that tweet.
Yeah, Trump's lawyer posted that.
So Kirk is hilarious, and Kirk and I were talking about how we weren't that into Twitter until the election, and then we were like Twitter. As ironic, I guess, or as twisted as this is, because Trump is making kind of an abomination of Twitter, but it's also saving the rest of us, because it's a place for all of us to talk about how we're going to salvage humanity
and feel like you're not alone and you're not crazy. So I used to write shit like, I had one tweet. It was like, if Lenny Kravitz wasn't a real person, a Scooby-Doo movie would have invented him, something like that. And just weird, dumb dad jokes.
Yeah.
Like every dad is the sheriff of the parking lot they're in or something. It was just dumb LA driving observations or parenting stuff. And then my Twitter turned into a thread on the Logan Act.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That I just
Kirk's
looked
Twitter.
up on Wikipedia, or fuck Donald Trump, and so I'm now I somehow, and I have no followers, I have no social media presence, but I've been blocked by Mike Huckabee,
There you go.
Sean Hannity,
Nicely
Wow.
done.
and
that's impressive.
Sebastian Gorka.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
yes.
Wow.
That's cool.
Right?
That should be in your bio.
It should be. I know.
I'm jealous.
You could totally get that.
You just have to
with
tweet
your
at them.
with your followers. You could make that
So
happen.
what's the
I don't
secret? You
know.
tweet at them,
You
right?
tweet at them
Yeah.
and you call them out for shit. I mean,
Yeah.
with Mike Huckabee, it was easy. I just, every time he would tweet one of his dumb jokes,
Your
I would say
daughter's
something
aligned,
about, or just your son murdered a dog, and and you're a fake Christian, money grubbing hypocrite.
Yeah, sure.
And and then he didn't want to hear that. And there's a part of me where I'm like, screw you for blocking me. And I think if someone wrote half of what I wrote to that guy, I'd be like, oh my God, you're stalking me and you're creepy and I'm going to block. So yes, I get it. I earned the block, but I got my shots in and that was fun. And Gorka, I was listening to NPR one morning and it's he was being interviewed and he was abominable. He was just a monstrous person.
He is a monster.
We're literally, they're like, do you believe that Islam is a religion? He goes, I have no comment on that. And I was like, what the this guy has access to the president of the United States.
Yeah.
I don't have access to the president of the United States. I feel like I would be much better in that job than this guy. And so I just tweeted at him saying I heard you on NPR and you're a monster. I just sort of started laying stuff out. And he immediately blocked me.
He blocked you right away.
Wow.
Which again, it's like snowflakes. Like this is the shit. So and then Hannity, weirdly, I think I had gone after him about a couple of things and then forgot about it. And then he had done something where people were like, oh my God, can you believe what Hannity wrote? And I went to look at it and he would blocked me.
And
I'm
you
like,
can't say.
I have 740 something followers. There's no impact I'm having on Sean Hannity's
man.
career. I'd love to have an impact on his career, but somehow he took the time to go block. And I think that's the fun thing about it, is realizing that
You bothered him so much.
that's
that-
it.
Yeah.
That
Right.
Mike Huckabee or someone close to him decided this person
Yeah.
is hurting my feelings a little bit.
Right.
I'm good. I don't want to hear that anymore.
But it was just because they don't even have, like, you can mute some. Like, it's to them. I don't block people because I don't want to give people the satisfaction of being blocked.
Right.
Because it's you screenshot it and you send it to everybody. Like I have friends. I'm genuinely jealous that you were blocked by these people. It's like such a medal of honor.
It was super exciting. I would love to get, I'm trying to get like Eric Trump or Don Jr. to block me, and I can't. I'm really trying.
I'm trying
It's like,
so
Compose a tweet that they would block.
oh, please. I said like,
Here we go.
It's like,
What do you got?
Well, no, I've tried. I've said your mom said your dad raped her. Like that doesn't get me
Yeah.
blocked. Like that, but I think they're smart about that. I think that generally they're
He
like,
probably knows that's how he was
they're like,
conceived.
yes, don't engage. I think I did say, I said, you may have been a product of rape.
This is the best ad.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna follow.
God.
I'm gonna follow you on Twitter right after we're done. This is the best
This is
ad
so
for
exciting.
your Twitter page.
But
Please
no, but
follow
it's yeah.
Kirk. Is it Kirk J. Rudell or Kirk Rudell?
It's K Rudell.
At K.
There it
Rudell.
is. K. Rudell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens, I think, is if you're
Or
just even
Cruddle.
if you're like
Crudell,
a
which is
normal
what-
person
Yeah.
and you go on Twitter, you wind up following somebody who has a mind and who thinks and who reads, and then you wind up finding out things about people, and then you become political without even realizing that your Twitter was going to be a vehicle for that. Like you almost can't help it if you're a reasonable thinking person.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. I think we all started becoming less funny on Twitter. I think good people, have a little bit of guilt. I don't know. I can speak of have good people. I'm not a good person, but like I feel guilt sometimes tweeting a joke about duvets if there's some tragedy happening in the world.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's people following me, and I feel like it's important to share something that some people might not know about. And so I've definitely posted less jokes.
Interesting.
Since stuff had happened, and I saw a comedian post recently because Twitter used to be just jokes. Everyone
Yeah,
just write jokes all
exactly.
day,
Right.
Yeah.
and people got careers out of tweeting just funny things. And
Yeah.
some comedian I like, who's a writer, he wrote something along the lines of, "I'm so glad you don't have to be funny to be a comedian anymore. It really makes it easier for me to have a career." Like it's so true though. Like I used to write 3 jokes a day.
But so assuming, Taylor, because you're more of a public-facing person, assuming that a lot of Taylor Williamson fans voted for Trump or have conservative values or whatever it is, like how much thought do you put into like what you would tweet?
Yeah. Do you worry about offending somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I've posted probably 12 times in the last 2 years of like super this is what's happening deal. On Twitter, I'll retweet like facts or like stuff about Trump and stuff, and then during the election, I try to do like probably 60 stuff about Hillary too, just to be fair.
Right.
I've learned on Facebook is where people really get into it. Twitter.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But Twitter, I don't get as much as that unless I tag something or if I reply to Trump, then I get like I have to like mute the whole thing. You get into that?
But that's
Wow.
the thing for you. So for me, I have the freedom to do it because I have so few followers. It is much easier for me to go like, yeah, to just put it out there. I have less responsibility, or I feel less responsibility for it. Where I know people who have larger follower counts, and they're like, yeah, it's like there's a line that if I go over a line, it's it's more of an issue, or I'll get more blowback.
Right, or then my
interesting.
life becomes this. Like, how do I handle all these responses? Do I ignore them? Do I block them? Do I mute them? Or do I respond? Like, because they know that if you're share, once you say something, like there's going to be like that immediate cause and effect.
Right.
And Taylor Swift gets shit for not saying anything, which is interesting because she didn't speak out against
Right.
Trump. She gets shit. But like,
yeah.
The Rock doesn't post anything. Like he posts twice. He's posted something about equality, but he doesn't acknowledge anything. And I can't judge him because he's the biggest movie star in the world, and bad people buy tickets to see him too, and he's in charge of so many. I don't know, but yeah, I've posted about things that are really important to me. Like when there's a bunch of racist stuff against Mexican and immigrants, I posted some heartfelt thing, and I'm at the point now where if it's humanity, I'll post something like a positive message. It's not even a joke. On Twitter, it's mostly jokes or retweets.
Right.
But if it's like something important, I'll say it on Facebook. But it's interesting. But now people are not embarrassed to be racist or bad people anymore. Like I posted something about like Muslim people are human beings, and I thought blah blah blah, and I think it's disgusting. These people, whatever. And I always have to preface: I'm not a Democrat. I don't like Hillary Clinton.
Right.
I did not. I wasn't excited about her either. But so I have to throw that out there to make things so they can't say that.
But you shouldn't
Yeah.
have to like sort of like submit a disclaimer like, oh, here's why you shouldn't hate me, and then I'm going to say a thing that makes complete and total sense.
But I agree, but you have to, and that's my way of saying this about humanity. It's not about politics. But I had someone say, hey, Taylor, been a fan of yours. I voted for you, whatever. But I just remember a time period where we only had black and white people, and those people stayed in their country. I think they should go back. But she's like, you called me racist if you want. But she's coming from a point of view as probably a quote good person who thinks that. And then I just wrote back, you're an awful human being.
Oh my God.
And I don't usually write back to negativity either, but that's just so preposterous to me. And preposterous, is that the word? Preposterous?
It's a good word.
It's a good one.
It's got many syllables.
Yeah.
But then she wrote back, it's okay, I'm still a fan. And she's like, I'm a Christian, all this weird stuff. I'm like, anyways.
Wow.
But at the same time, like I think watching Jimmy Kimmel lately has been really interesting, and the sort of the public role that our comedians or celebrities now have or are choosing to have, and I think it is important. It is that thing where it's like
it's important.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're all, and I think that's why I do yell on Twitter sometimes, is just that feeling of, I think, I don't know, whenever like in the first Obama election, I went to Nevada and helped canvass for votes before that election, and I was more active. And now it's more, a couple of marches, but mostly writing checks. And I'm not, and so in a little way, it's being involved enough to say like there are more good people than bad people, and I've connected with people through Twitter to just sort of say like, you're not alone. Like there are decent people out there, and I think that the celebrities who are saying, I may lose fans over this, but decency is decency.
Yeah, I think
is super important.
Yeah, absolutely,
it's a moment in time that we're going to look back on and sort of like kind of judge ourselves, and so you don't want to kind of disappoint future you.
Yeah.
Like future you is going to want to look back and be proud of like, okay, well maybe they lost a few customers, but they said what they really thought.
Grandpa, did you go to Alabama and help Doug Jones? I did not, but I was blocked by Sean Hannity on Twitter. So,
and never before has a regular people been able to attract a talk to the world.
This actually, okay. So this was my highlight on Twitter. Is back in, I think it was March. Dana Rohrabacher, who is a monstrous Orange County Republican congressman who won't meet with constituents and is absolutely has offshore bank accounts with Russian money in them. He's the one who met with Julian Assange at the embassy recently. Okay, so I saw he engaged with some woman who was mad because she was a constituent. He wasn't meeting with constituents, and she said something about she went after him, and he turned the criticism of him as an elected official into a slam on Bill Clinton and adultery.
Oh yeah, it's whataboutism. Yeah.
So I just replied to him. I'm like, are you trying to turn this into something to relitigate the Clintons right now? You're an idiot. And then I was trying to think of the dumbest thing I could think of, which was an expression I learned like in Canada from family vacations back in the day. And I was like, suck moose cock. And Dana Rohrabacher answered me. And so it's 11 at night. I'm sitting, like my wife and I are getting ready for bed. I'm like, holy shit. A sitting U.S. congressman just replied to me on Twitter and basically said, your profanity says all I need to know about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, And I went in, I'm like, you want profanity? Your career is profane. And I just went through like 5 tweets about his record, his whatever, and he started answering me.
Wow.
And he's like, talking about my record won't, whatever.
Amazing.
Me not being progressive won't hurt me in Orange County. And I just went off on him. And then the next day he engaged with me again, and I did another just run on him. And so that was, and I was sitting there thinking that exact thing. It's like, this is insane that we have this.
You have this power.
I'm typing on my phone, and a congressman is answering me. I can actually speak directly to him now.
You never could do it. You'd have to be a broadcaster and be on radio or television.
Yeah.
You
It's
can do it.
insane. And so it is, and I wasted it by telling him to suck moose cock repeatedly. And then
he may have taken you up on that.
He may have. But then I've tried to engage with him since, and I think I may have been muted because I can't get him. I can't
get him.
Or someone close to him said, enough with the moose cock guy.
Yeah, really.
It's not
Get
worth
away
it.
from the guy.
It's really not worth it.
But it's not them that look at. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's not them that looks at it. Like, so Donald Trump's lawyer does his tweets, and then Ted Cruz's staffer looks at the porno.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
not,
I mean, it takes a
favorites
staff.
the porno.
Sure.
It's never them. Looking
No,
at
it's not them. No.
But it's amazing. It's just probably him drunk at 11 o'clock at night. Just be
yeah.
like, I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Like, they have so much guilt or attention. They need the attention, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I got The Rock to write back to me.
Did you? What
Did
did he
you?
say?
Really?
It was like the coolest thing that's
That's
ever
awesome.
happened to me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I love it so much, and I wrote happy birthday because if you're verified, you have the stupid checkmark thing, which you get if you were on TV or if you're like a terrorist.
Murdered someone.
Basically. For real, it's like so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so they or if you're like a KKK leader, Jesus Christ. But
Jesus Christ is verified.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is not verified, but David Duke is verified. So
wow, I'm going to be up at night thinking about
Yeah.
that.
actually, David Duke just got unverified last week because he wrote terribly anti-Semitic stuff about a friend of mine. Who tweeted him he sent taunting tweets, then he like retweeted him and wrote some super like anti-Jewish stuff, and then he was suspended for like a day.
Oh, I missed
Then he
that.
came back unverified.
Oh, wow.
But he still the next post I saw was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and it's like something with a big nose, and he's like, "Hey, the Jews run this stuff."
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
Why
Oh,
is
my
it? Anyways, The
What
Rock.
about The Rock? Yeah.
Oh, so The Rock was some crazy anti-Semitic stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So you're not gonna believe it. So I just wrote like "Happy Birthday" when I was in 1997. I saw you in a steel cage match with Kane, and then some fan ran into the steel cage and you beat him up, and then he wrote, "How come you ran into the cage, dude?" And I was just like,
Rock is playing with me.
I was just like smiling. I'm still smiling. I was
That's
like,
so great.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I was retweeted by Henry Winkler.
But it was we talked to him.
Yeah, we did. We maybe that was when it happened.
Oh, that's cool.
He's like your friend though.
Yeah, we shouted him out. Yeah, but that doesn't get you a retweet always.
Yeah.
Like, what's your proudest Twitter moment? Anything?
Oh my God. Like being United Airlines responding to me because I was at New Jersey airport, and I took a picture. I actually had to do a voiceover session. I got an email from a client, and I was at Newark Airport going down to Florida, and I wrote back and I said, "I'm traveling today. Can I do this tonight?" And he goes, "Oh, it goes on the air next hour." Well, United Airlines at Newark is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's like a spa.
Oh my God. It's really nice. So I took out this laptop, microphone, I set up there and I did it and I posted it on Twitter, and I thanked United Airlines for having such an amazing area at Newark, and they retweeted it. So that's
they retweeted you?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's a big moment.
I think we're going to have to end on that. I don't know how to top it.
Big moment.
I want to thank Joe Cipriano. Maybe you can run that closing music, and then we'll sound like
Like we're ending
we're
this
in
thing.
show business.
Oh, show business.
Yeah. So I am
You have to
Louise.
go like
we
this
are
when
things we are things I found online. Please like, subscribe, follow, and retweet us. With Joe Cipriano, Kirk Rudell, and Taylor Williamson. We miss you, Larry and
Lisa.
And thank you, John Maddox and Thomas
Thomas.
Hubble.
John. Good night, everybody.